Hello my fabulous book friends, welcome back to another video. Happy fall, finally the best time of the year, am I right? I love fall. I thrive in fall. It's Scorpio season, pumpkin spice latte, oversized sweaters. I love it all. So I'm very excited that fall is here, and I figured what better way to ring fall in. Wow, that's almost a tongue twister. And I figured what better way to ring fall in than with an overly ambitious TBR that I know I will not complete, but I guess I will challenge myself. So yeah, consider this my fall TBR challenge, I guess. Okay, so I kind of split it up between like gifted copies and genre-ish. So like I didn't really read no description, so I have an idea of what books or like what these books are about, but I don't know off the top of my head. So let's discover all of these together. So first I am going to start with some gifted copies that have come my way. This is probably the wrong way to hold these books, but we're learning still. Okay, first this book. By the way, these are just the books that I'm going to prioritize during the fall season. Who knows what will be sent to me? Who knows? So obviously these might change. These choices might change, but they're in my thoughts. Okay, first, this book is from Mobius Books, although the publisher or the imprint, I guess, would be Red Hook, from Hachette. So this is a horror novel. It is called The Seven Visitations of Sydney Burgess by Andy Marino. I love that seven is in quite a few book titles recently. I don't know. But anyway, like, I don't know why. It's a cool, maybe it's just a lucky number for everybody, who knows. But yes, so this book is about basically a woman who is a victim of a home invasion, I believe, and then she's unconscious. She wakes up in the hospital, and basically the cops are telling her that she did it because the intruder was found dead in her home. So sounds really cool. It is horror. So the back cover copy here says, "From an electrifying new voice in horror comes a terrifying tale of possession with a sinister twist." So very excited to read this. Horror really isn't my thing, but I feel kind of more drawn to it recently. So we'll see what happens. And I really love that over here, if you have Google Lens, you can kind of discover, or I guess bring the book cover to life, which I thought was cool. I already did it. These things move and it's really cool. And then you flip the back cover and it's a little video from the author. So I think it was a really nice touch. And yeah, I'm really excited. This, I'm realizing now, is not an ARC. It is a finished gifted copy. So it's probably already out. I just haven't read it yet. But moving on. Next book that I'm very excited about that I just realized comes out in December. So definitely leaving this to the end of my fall reading list. But that is True Crime Story by Joseph Knox. And again, don't know too much about this. The cover is stuck on. So, oh, I'm going to play with this when I read it, but it's fine. Okay, this is What Happens to the Girls Who Go Missing. So it looks like Zoe Nolan, who goes missing. She's never seen again. 7 years after her disappearance, a writer, Evelyn Mitchell, finds herself drawn into the mystery. She interviews people and revelations happen. So this sounds really good, and this was sent to me by Sourcebook, so thank you. I should say Landmark, the imprint, because I have other source books here that were sent to me which were from a different imprint. So yes, this is from Landmark by Sourcebooks. I think that's the right way to say it. Speaking of source books, these two are from the Fire Reads imprint, so very excited about these. One is The Violence Season, which is out October 5th, so definitely gonna read this for Halloween because it just looks Halloween-y. So this is an unputdownable debut. Oh, I love debuts. Honestly, debuts have been really great so far for me, so I'm already sold on this. This is for fans of Sadie and Girl in Pieces. I loved Sadie, one of my favorite YA thrillers. Okay, let me continue with this. This is about a town marred by violence, a girl ruined by grief, and the harsh reality about what makes people decide to hurt one another. My door just opened. Oh my god. So I really love books that kind of want to make you question about like what makes people tick, or like just really gets deep down into the things that make people who they are, or really weird things like that. I don't know why I like those kinds of character study kind of books, but I'm sold. I can't wait to read this. So remember, out October 5th, unless the date has changed and they've already printed it on the ARCs, but you can't help it. Ooh, I just saw some fun details. Oh my god, I love that. Okay, well, 4.5 stars already. I'm joking, probably 4. Do you also predict what you're gonna rate a book before you read it, or is it just me? Let me know in the comments below. There are noises outside. Okay, so the next book that Source Books Fire sent me, I think I said Fire Reads before. I feel like that's their either hashtag or their Instagram name, so just know that it is just Fire, not Fire Reads. Anyway, so 7 Dirty Secrets by Natalie D. Richards, on sale November 2nd. So I love the cover of this. It really drew me into it, so that's why I requested it. Let's just read this because it sounds amazing. I know 7 secrets. 1 caused the fall, 1 did nothing, 1 saw it all, 1 didn't care, 1 used their head, 1 played the hero, 1 was left for dead. That's exciting. This kind of reminds me about a book that I read recently. I really loved it. I'm really bad with book titles. In my dreams, I saw a knife, or in my dreams, I hold a knife, something like that. Like, it just has the same premise of like one person caused the death of somebody and like everybody kind of knows something and you're just trying to piece it together. So that kind of sounds like this. So I have high expectations now. Okay, so the last book that was a gifted copy is All's Well by Mona Awad, Canadian writer, I believe. Yes, I was right. Canlit, we love Canlit. I will say I did DNF Bunny because it just wasn't for me. So I'm kind of really hoping that this kind of saves Mona Awad for me, because I really wanted to like Bunny and I just couldn't get into it. But this one was sent to me, like I said, by Penguin Random House Canada. So, from the critically acclaimed author of Bunny, a darkly funny novel about a theater professor suffering from chronic pain who, in the process of staging a troubled production of Shakespeare's most maligned play, suddenly and miraculously recovers. I think I read that word wrong, but you catch my drift. I have seen some really great reviews for it, and I must say I love the Canadian edition cover better. I did like the US one at first, like the mask, but now that I have this in person, I just like ours better. So yeah. Okay, moving on. These 2 books, so of course, in case you didn't know, the Scotiabank Giller Prize is kind of really huge here in Canada. It's a $100,000 prize to the winner, and I already own 2 of the books that are on the long list. So that is Swimming Back to Trout River by Linda Rui Fang and The Son of the House by Chiluchi Onyemalukwe Onuobia. So I feel like because I already own these 2 books, I'll probably start with these before I kind of see what makes the shortlist and where I will go from there. So yeah, we will see how it goes. I can talk about The Son of the House confidently because I work at Dunder Press. If you haven't bought this book already, order at your favorite bookstore, your online retailer, or if you're in Canada, you can order at dundrenpress.com. You can, my door moved again. You can use code ReadingMaria20. I will put it down below in the description box. You can get 20% off not only this book, but all of the Dundren Press books. So go check it out. This book basically highlights kind of social inequalities, social class. It's about 2 women. What are their names? This takes place in Nigeria, by the way. There's young Nwabulu, who's a housemaid. She has huge dreams of becoming obviously something more, as anybody would in a really bad situation like that, or I guess a really depressing situation like that, I should say. And the other one is Julie, an educated, privileged modern woman. Basically, they get kidnapped together and they're forced to await their fate together. So definitely, if you love personal dramas, I know this takes place within 40 years, so if you kind of like those stories that span decades, again, personal dramas, but also addresses some social issues, pick this up. And then next, of course, from the long list is Swimming Back to Trout River. I loved the cover. I originally bought it because of the cover. I saw it and I'm like, fancy. It's a little floppy, which I love. Who doesn't love a floppy paperback? It's got deckled edges. We'd love it. And basically, I don't know too much about this one because it was a cover buy back in whenever it first came out. So let's just read the tagline. Can one family with an ocean between them start anew without losing themselves or each other? So yeah, that sounds like another really great kind of family story, personal drama. It probably spans a few decades or at least quite a few years like The Son of the House does. So yeah, I'm excited for that. And again, once the shortlist comes out, plan on me adding at least a couple more from that to this fall TBR. We'll see. Okay, next is a novel, a pandemic novel, Severance by Ling Ma. I kind of don't want to read this book because, not the book, but like I don't want to read the paperback because the print is so small and I just feel like it's gonna feel like I'm gonna take forever reading this book, but I know it's really good. To be honest, this is an influence from what's coming up with Dundurn Press because we do have some pandemic novels that were written before the pandemic happened. So I feel like it's just gonna be a surge in popularity in these types of novels. So let's start with the foundation. This book is not the foundation of pandemic literature, but I think that it's really cool. And yeah, I'm sure you guys know all about this. I don't know if there is there's no description, so just look it up. I don't know what this is about. Like, I know it's a pandemic novel, and that's it. And it's really pretty. Next is a Canlit novel. You might have heard about this, you might not have. Five Little Indians by Michelle Good. This book has been everywhere, especially with all of the devastating Indigenous children that have been found dead on the land of closed residential schools. So I feel like this is a very timely novel. So taken from their families as small children from a church-run residential school, because that is Canada's fantastic history. Kenny, Lucy, Clara, Howie, and Maisie are barely out of childhood when they are finally released with no money or support after years of detention. Alone and without skills, support, or family, the teens find their way to a seedy foreign world of downtown East Side Vancouver, where they basically learn how to navigate the world together. Yeah, so this sounds like a really powerful book. It sounds like this is probably going to be a tearjerker, but I know it's an important book to read, and especially if you're curious about the residential school system, especially in Canada, probably read this. Definitely read this. Okay, next, I can hear the screaming of, you haven't read that already through the screen. So yes, no, I have not read this already. The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I think there's another one coming out, or like, I know there's one either coming out or has already been published. It looks the same, so I'm assuming it is the same world genre. Is this even fantasy or magical realism? I don't know. I just know that I have been yelled at on Instagram for not reading this yet. So I bought it. But yes, we will see. I do love the cover. Yeah, let me know if you've read this. I feel like it needs no explanation. I feel like I'm the only person in the world who hasn't read this, so feel free to yell at me in the comments about having not read this yet, and let me know what you thought of it. Next is a book that I've been wanting to read for a while, and I know you've never heard of, but that's okay. It is Feelways, a Scarborough anthology, edited by Adrienne De Leon, Natasha Ramatar, and Tam Mutanji. Canlit again, obviously Scarborough, Ontario, which is near and dear to my heart because I live close to Scarborough. So I do This is basically fiction, nonfiction, and poetry. I worked at Moenzi House, in case you didn't know, until I got my job at Dundurn Press. I asked for this book to be published, and they finally signed it, and I didn't get the chance to work on it, but I still bought a copy, obviously. And yeah, I love anthologies. This is really short, so I just need to get my life together, pick it up for a weekend, and then move on, because I know I'll love this anyways. And yeah, it's literally short. It is 89 pages, and that includes the author bio, so definitely can read this, not even in a weekend, in a day. So what is this book about, you might ask? This is a breakthrough anthology of works by writers of Scarborough, Ontario. It is inspired by the suburb of Scarborough, shedding light on its myths and its many stories set in the diverse immigrant communities that arrived in the 1960s and later. So yeah, it's been blurbed by Kinisia Lubrin, David Cheriandy, and Eternity Martis. So yeah, and I love the balloon on the cover. I'm so glad they went with this cover. If you know, you know. Okay, moving on to the thrillers that I did not just almost drop. You didn't see that. Okay, let's start with the book talk books first. This one is huge, I think, on Book Talk. I know it was under the Book Talk section on Indigo, which is where I bought this book. The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. This sounds like one of those, it kind of sounds like Finlay Donovan is killing it. Like one of those cozy mysteries that are hilarious, but also great. I guess, I don't know how to explain it. I think this book is about senior citizens in a retirement home, yes, who band together to solve a case. So this sounds hilarious and adorable. I feel like I should recommend this book for my friend because she works at a retirement home. So I'll probably definitely prioritize this so I can tell her to choose it for her senior book club. So yeah, but anyways, I think there's a second one out. The Man Who Died Twice, the new Thursday Murder Club mystery. I don't know. I just know that, again, it was on the Book Talk section, so I wanted to feel included in that, and I bought it. Another Book Talk selection is Verity by Colleen Hoover. I have only read one by Colleen Hoover, or Coho, as we all lovingly refer to her as. There goes my door. Jeez. Okay. Anyways, the only other one I've read by her is Regret of You. I sobbed. Loved it. Again, I don't know too much about this book, but it looks good. Oh, I'm just realizing it's a standalone romantic thriller. Okay, well, I've never read anything like this before, so I guess I'll be prioritizing this book too. A romantic thriller. Cool. All right, if you have more recs like that, let me know because now I'm intrigued. Okay, next book is The Other Black Girl by Zakiya Delilah Harris. I've seen mixed reviews about this book, on Instagram at least, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm still really curious of this because of the publishing aspect to it. I would kind of like to see this publishing setting in a book. Yeah, so it is, they're calling it, a provocative, urgent, and sharp as a knife. The Other Black Girl is an electric debut. I love debuts. About the tension that unfurls when two young Black women meet against the starkly white backdrop of New York City book publishing. So it sounds really great, but I had a close friend who read this and she said that the last 30 pages went by way too fast, and that's why she didn't like it. I've also seen the same thing from other people, but again, I've got to read it for myself to find out. It's also been on my TBR for way too long. So yeah, we'll see. And I love the colors of the book. Like how fancy. All right, next is a book. I think I've had this on my TBR since it was published. Lakewood by Megan Giddings. Again, this is just, I loved the hardcover. I liked the look of it. And I liked that it was short when I picked it up in a bookstore. And I'm like, yeah, I can read this in like 3 or 4 days. And we're hitting like quite a few months later, and I still haven't read it in those 3 or 4 days that I had originally thought I would read it in. So that's what it is. Again, a debut. Oh my god, see, I love debut books. Sorry, I got really excited when I saw this. It's been a while since I've read these blurbs because I've had these books on my TBR for a long time. So yeah, again, I apologize. All right. A startling debut about class and race, Lakewood evokes a terrifying world of medical experimentation, part The Handmaid's Tale, part The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, which I do want to read. I know the book is good. I've heard great things about it, so I'll get the best of both worlds with this book. Is this author Canadian? No. Sorry, I was just wondering about the Canadian because of the Margaret Atwood reference. Sorry. So yeah, again, sounds really good. Medical experimentation is horrible, of course. It sounds like one of those thrillers that will also be a really powerful read. Oh, I can't wait to read this. I've had so many people, whenever I post it on Instagram, again, they tell me you should read this book, and I hope I will get to it. I really want to. And again, it is short, a 3 to 4 day read. I can do it. Okay, so I am adjusting myself. Okay, so just wanted to end off this video with the 2 YA thrillers on my TBR. I love YA thrillers. I think that they are slowly but surely becoming one of my favorite genres, or at least my top favorite genres, because I just love them so much. So first is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Everyone in Fairview knows the story, except for me, Maria, because I haven't read this yet. But I know it's good, and I think there's a second one, part of the series, or at least with the same characters. I don't know. Maybe there's a third one. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know there's a second one for sure, but is there a third one? Please let me know. I will buy it. And then next book, which I love flipping it, is Ace of Spades by Farida Abike Iamidi. I apologize. I should have learned how to say this before, but I get so excited when I see this book cover. I can't stop playing with it because I'm a nerd. All you need to know is I'm here to divide and conquer, like all great tyrants do. Aces. So Dark Academia, which I've been wanting to read lately, a thriller. Again, highly, highly, highly recommended on Bookstagram. So I bought it. And my friend who also read The Other Black Girl, who does not vibe with thrillers that much, she really loved Ace of Spades. And again, she also does not read YA. She's very picky with her books, so she loved it. We both bought it together because I told her it was good even though I hadn't read it. And she's like, well, if I don't like it, it's your fault I spent the money. And she ended up loving it, so I have high hopes. All right, so that is my fall TBR of, I should have counted these first. That is my fall TBR of 17 books. I should have chosen 3 more to make it 20, but why stress myself out, right? All right, so if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a huge thumbs up. Also, let me know in the comments if you've read any of these, if you have liked or disliked any of these, or what's on your fall TBR. Just let's have a fun convo in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, and yeah, stay tuned for some more videos.